So we're into the last couple of finals here at the first finals day of the 2019 Rotax Max Euro Trophy season here at Adria Karting Raceway. 1,302 meters of prime asphalt that has been rubbering in thanks to the extensive amount of testing, practice, qualifying heats, and now the finals for the first of 3 race weekends. So we say goodbye to both Junior and Senior Max. Thank you very much for being with us. We look forward to seeing you at Christianstad at the Ring between the 12th and the 14th of July. The entry list is still open, so those drivers, if you are able to enter via the Rotax Racing dedicated app, you can do so either on Android or iTunes. Available to download completely free of charge. Alternatively, you can go to the Rotax Max Euro Trophy website itself, rotaxmax-challenge-eurotrophy.com. You'll also be able to find out current technical and sporting regulations and any supplementary bulletins provided by the series organizers, Camp Company GmbH, based out of Germany. And a big thank you also to motorsportevents.se for providing the live timing throughout the weekend as well. So the grid is being cleared in preparation. So we will have 32 drivers, my apologies, that will be contesting this final, as Aleix Navarro Amigo from Spain will not be taking part in this second final. That's a bit of a shame, but that means that David Remy, who had a bit of a howler, will have a lot of work to do. The former Senior Max driver will be starting from a bit further back, and it looks like we will have one driver just sort of keeping an eye on things at the moment. So now I do notice that, is there a cart missing, I think? Because behind I think that is, now that looks to be Daniel Mahacek, I think, on the left-hand side of my screen, who is just behind Piotr Wisnicki. Then we got Zander Schublak, who will be starting from 4th position. So there is a gap behind Austria's Daniel Mahacek. Looks to be Jusso Pantler on the 451. So could we be down to 31 drivers? Or could there be an issue where they haven't made it, they have a window in which to get to the grid in time, and if they don't make that grid window, they may be relegated down to starting behind everybody when the rolling start gets underway. So it looks to be the case, as the drivers now preparing themselves. We have around about sort of a little bit less than about, well, probably around a minute before we get things underway. So the green flag waves on the start-finish line, and we get our last of 2 DD2 finals underway here at Adria Karting Raceway. Grid should be as follows, with Jusso Pantler, a notable absentee off of 10th place, who would have been up alongside Maxi Fleischmann in 9th position on the 5th row. But it is Jakub Bezel alongside Nico Jorg, so Bezel on pole position. Then it's Peter Bezel just behind Jakub on row number 2, with Zander Schublak from Belgium, the defending BNL Karting Series 2018 DD2 champion, on row 2. Jan Slozar and Piotr Wisnicki on row number 3. Imre Brizdo and Daniel Mahacek, row 4, Max Fleischmann, and there is a space where Jusso Pantler should be on row number 5, completing the top 10. Friedrich Jerich, Dinis Livris, Florian Breitenbach, Jan Schwitter, Manuel Tenchert, Luca Muneretto, Marcel Steinert, Willi Leinen, Zenderua and Oliver Breitenbach. round out the top 20, and then towards the end of the grid, it will be Sebastian Degrand, Ronnie Goetler, Brandon Smith, Louis Puel, Riccardo Alberti, Mike Zucher, Imke Arts, Nico Brugger, Antoine Gonçalves, Markus Heimbüchner, Daniel Oberreuter, No Aleix Navarro Amigo, but last but by no means least, Sweden's David Remy. And it is confirmed, Juuso Panttila will not be partaking in this second final. So from 33, we now have 2 non-starters. So I think Juuso Panttila, not too sure what has happened there, whether there was a technical issue with the cart that we could not get, that the team could not get rectified, but that's a real shame for the Finn. I would have loved to have seen if he could have got up into the top 5. But it is Bezel and Jörg, so Jakob Bezel and Nico Jörg on the front row. Top 10 completed by Peter Bezel, Zander Schriblak, Jan Schlosar, Piotr Wisnicki, Imre Brizdo, Daniel Mahacek, Max Fleischmann, and I think effectively that promotes Friedrich Jerich to effectively what is 10th position. So, drivers now trying to, the front two need to they need to sort of really slow to a crawl now. I'm not too sure. I wouldn't be happy as a race director with this start, but are we going to go green? I think that looks to be a full start to me. But in any case, let's just see. I'm just keeping an eye on the timing screen, just seeing if that will be reset very, very shortly, because I don't think that was the right sort of start. Excuse me. So, yep, that is going to be a restart here. So, I thought that might have been the case. So it will be a second attempt at a start. So both Juuso Panttila and Aleix Navarro Amigo not starting. So we're down to 31 DD2 drivers here with Jakob Bezel and Nico Jörg alongside each other on the front row. Now they need to really start putting on the anchors, slowing the field down to a crawl, because we don't really want another full start here. The field needs to start sort of catching up. They are being caught napping. Are they going to go green this time? Looks to be the case. That looks to be a better start. And, if memory, it looks like from my eyesight, I think the two Bezels are leading the way. So it is now the 401, Jakob Bezel, 402, Peter. And we've got the 422 of Zander Schriblak up into third position. Jan Schlosar up into fourth now. So Nico Jörg, where's he at the minute? He looks to be, I think, that could be fifth position. As Schriblak, oh, that was very dicey. That is clearly, from my line of sight, maybe 2 wheels off of the track. He was on the actual green runoff area, just on the approach into turn number 6. So could he be penalised? That would be very, very interesting to see. Meanwhile, at the moment, Jakob Bezel is leading and is starting to stretch out the legs somewhat. But your guess is as good as mine. We'll wait to see what happens, as there is some slipstreaming going on down into the fast right-hand sweeper. So Schriblak now up into second position, having to fend off Peter Bezel at the moment. Jan Schlosar up into fourth. Nico Jörg down into fifth, with Imre Brizdo and Max Fleischmann up into sixth and seventh, respectively. That's ahead of Poland's Piotr Wisnicki, the charging Greek that is Dionysis Livris, up into ninth. We've then also got the 433 of Florian Breitenbach up into the top 10, ahead of Slovenia's Zenderua. Friedrich Jerich up into 12th. Manuel Tenschert 13th. Marcel Steinert into 14th. And here comes the flying Finn of Ville Villelainen. He's now into the final points-paying position with just over a couple of minutes of this race completed so far. So we're at about 2 minutes down. So that puts us on around about 12 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. Best lap at the moment is set by Greece's very own charging hero, Dionysis Livris, who always brings out some Herculean lap times in the 456 of 51.947 last time around. He's not the only one that's gone sub 52. Nico Jörg and also Imre Brizdo has also done the same. The rest of the field anywhere between a 52 to even a 54.6. And that person is Zurcher in the 408, so having to do the very best with the equipment he's got under him. So it's the Battle of the Bezels. I never thought I'd be saying that in my entire life. So the Battle of the Bezels at the front of the field. So it is Jakob leading by over 4/10 from Peter. With Zandap Schiblak in third position, about a further 10th or so adrift. Running the 52s is the Belgian. Nico Jorg and Jan Schlosser rounds out the top 5. Other drivers making up moves. Brugger, Zurcher and Gonçalves have all got past. It looks like Oberreuter for 28th, 29th and 30th position. David Remy, the Swede, is charging forward up into 26th. We've also got Brandon Smith from South Africa in 21st, just behind Imke Arts from the Netherlands. Jan Schwitter up into 17th in front of Luca Minaretto. Daniel Mahacek now hits the top 15 as Zenderua is now in 11th position. But there's been more changes as well. Looks like Fleischmann's dropped down a couple of places, down to 9th, having been passed by Dionysis Livris and also Piotr Wisnicki. Meanwhile, the fastest lap of the race now goes to Ville Leinen, who is up into 13th. The Finn is on the flyer, so to speak. And no, he hasn't sprouted wings. He's just done a 51.126. That's the fastest lap out of anybody. Now, the DD2s, we did see in pure qualifying. It is the case, it was a 49.876 that was done by Jan Schwitter. Schwitter running in 17th. The Swiss driver not having a good luck at all. When I asked him earlier on what happened in the first final, he said, to be honest, I don't really know. And that's quite surprising for me to hear, but sometimes it is a case of you have to look at it. You have to look at everything you can. You have to look at any sort of data that you can extrapolate. What might be happening, excuse me, with regards to maybe other tyres going off a bit too early. Is the setup too aggressive? So the tyres, you know, when they're going through these corners and they're pulling over 1.5 times the force of gravity, probably through more than likely turn number 2 and also turn 1. So those are two of the fastest points on this circuit, and yet the thing is the sidewalls only have so much lateral give before you put them over the actual physical realms of adhesion. So if the sidewall is compromised in any way, shape or form through contact or maybe a puncture, then it's going to compromise how the kart runs and may not be, it may be detrimental or it might help your setup. But it's another place gained by Ville Villainen from Finland, the 416, who definitely knows how to celebrate on the podium like Kimi Räikkönen. Last time out at Genk, is making moves up the field. So Mr. Cool as Ice, definitely showing a good way of how to go through the field, how to get through the traffic. He started in 18th position. He's now up into 12th as Ville Villainen, just behind Zenderua by about 1.5 tenths of a second. The two Bezels are still running together. I think they're trying to break the toe of Zandap Schiblak, but the thing is that Jakob is in prime position to provisionally get the ticket to Le Mans, but the thing is, I think he knows that Peter will be more of a case of saying, could they have even talked tactics? Could they have even said to each other, well, look, I'm going for the ticket Le Mans. You've come through to third. But then what happens if Jakob finishes in 4th and Peter wins? If Peter wins, that is distinctly a bigger opportunity. But then you have to factor in Zandap Schiblak, because if Schiblak wins and any one of the Bezels drops below 4th position, Schiblak could also be the one that goes to Le Mans this year. There are so many different equations and permutations on how you can calculate it, and I don't really probably have enough time to do that because we are pretty much at half time in terms of the race distance, well, the race clock being elapsed here. So we are at 7 minutes plus an additional lap to go here. The D2 final, number 2 here at Adria. So at the moment, the Basels still working together. Zander Schiblak, well, everything is starting to peter out a little bit and starting to settle into some source of rhythm. So we've had a few more changes of position. Friedrich Jerich very much in the danger zone of leaving the top 15, who will score points. Looks like Florian Breitenbach is now up past Max Fleischmann for 9th position. So Dionysius Livris just ahead, the number 433, by about half a second or so, as the Basels have just run lap times of within 1/1000th of each other. So Jakub, a 50.950, Petter, a 50.951. Imagine if they set the same lap time. That must be like synchronized fastest laps. But Nico Jorg still holds the fastest lap of this race on a 50.851. Unfortunately, the Austrian is sitting down in 5th position, because if he was in first, it could have been a very difficult decision to make. So it would go on to a countback on points, and especially with the fact that Nico Jorg was the best placed driver in terms of the qualifying heats yesterday. So in that sort of respect, you could call it quid pro quo, that effectively I would have thought that Nico Jorg would have taken it on that countback. So, because Jakub Bezel would have been alongside him on the front row. So now we've got 5 minutes plus an additional lap to go in this penultimate race of the season opener for the 2019 Rotax Max Euro Trophy Championship here at Adria Karting Raceway. So Ville Villainen has now got past Zenderua, as has Daniel Mahacek. So nice job. So Mahacek now up into 11th position. I think he has very much admitted to me earlier on today that he has struggled. He's been looking for pace. He hasn't been able to find it. Manuel Atenscher now loses out a position to Friedrich Jerich. As well, I did say exactly the same time. It's happened. 4:01 and 4:02 set a 50 point. Well, no, not quite. I jumped the gun there. I thought both of them had done a 50.862. Well, Jakub had done a 50.882. Petter had done at a 50.862. Zander Schiblak is about sort of 6/10 behind the two leaders. Other drivers that have made moves up the orders, Marcel Steinert and Daniel Oberheuter up into 26th and 27th respectively. Heimbüchner, Markus Heimbüchner in the 417 up to 23rd. And it goes to within 1/1000th of a second again. They must have some sort of reflex to like, yeah, you follow me, do exactly what I do, we'll pretty much get the same lap time within 1/1000th of a second. That's happened for the second time in this race, and it's with the pair of Bezels. But yeah, Jakub Bezel leads from Petter Bezel by 0.332 seconds. Then it's a further 6/10 back to Zander Schiblak, who then has a nigh on, that's probably going to be a 8.5 tenths of a second advantage over Jan Schlosser, who was slightly faster than the Belgian by just over 4/10, who's in 4th at the moment. Nico Jorg having to try and do his utmost. The time is fast running away, so Jorg is not going to have much of an opportunity to try and get past. So Jorg now 2.138 seconds off of Jakub Bezel, who's continuing to lead. So Bristo 6th, Piotr Wisnicki 7th, Dionysius Livris 8th, Florian Breitenbach 9th, Max Fleischmann rounds out the top 10 ahead of Austria's Daniel Mahacek. Ville Villainen is going about 7/100ths quicker than the Austrian, but it seems to have been, I think the pace has dropped off, but he'll be very happy to come back from 2 non-finishes in the qualifying heats. A difficult first heat, a difficult final earlier on, but still managed to make the most of it, having started in 18th position, and now he's in the points. He's in 12th position. So Friedrich Jerich, Zenderua and Luca Muneretto. Well, as I say that, Florian Breitenbach has just got past Piotr Wisnicki for 8th position, so that's another gain for one of the Breitenbachs. The other one is currently sitting in 30th position. So Oliver started 20th. He's now in 30th, ahead of Antoine Gonçalves, and ahead of him is Louis Puel. Just in front of them is Imke Arts from the Netherlands, Daniel Oberheuter in 27th, Brugger and Steinert ran out 26th and 25th positions respectively. David Remy in the meantime. Good work by the Swede. It's not going to be enough. Obviously he's been in the trenches, he's been in the wars as David Remy, but hopefully we'll see him firing back on all 125 cc's of that Rotax Max DD2 engine at Christianstad in the second weekend of July. That's the 12th to the 14th of July at the Asumring at Christianstad Karting Club. About a 2-hour drive from Copenhagen International Airport, where there is a fantastic bridge known as the Oresund Bridge, which has a tunnel underneath, and then at night time driving towards Malmö is a sight to behold, but it's also got one really exciting track. So we're looking forward to going back to Sweden. Quite a few drivers from Sweden in this championship, so obviously senior, junior and DD2. So 24 seconds remain on the clock. The Basels still continue to assert their presence over the lead as Zander Schiblak goes exactly the same lap time as Jakob Basel at 50.819, whereas Peter goes 6/1000ths of a second quicker. Meanwhile, at the moment, the fastest lap of the race has just gone down to the 11th place driver, Daniel Mahacek, as the time expires for the last time for DD2 here at Adria Karting Raceway. So they come through the, well, that's the leaders coming through turns 8. Now into the right-hander at 9 before the blast up the short left-hand kink into the final corner. So hang on a second. No, it's going to be one more lap to go. So there we go. So the Bezels cross the line. 50.661. Jan Schlosser just takes the fastest lap on the penultimate lap of the race of 50.652. Peter Bezel and Jakob Bezel are about half a second adrift. They're coming through in towards turn 4 for the last time. One of the two hairpin orientated corners here. Into the 90 right at 5. Now into the it's very much a smaller mirror-esque version of turn 2, but not as fast. But Jakob Bezel comes through into turn 9 for the final time. A little bit of a dip going in through to the apex. Blasts up through the left-hand kink into the right-hander at the final turn. The checker flag will wave, and Jakob Bezel does the double here in Adria. And provisionally speaking, he takes the ticket to go to Le Mans in August, with Peter having fought tooth and nail to get up the order in the first final. Now comes second, ahead of Zander Schiblak, who takes third position, having started in 4th position on the grid a little bit earlier on. Commiserations to Nico Jog, who finishes 5th, just behind Jan Schlosser, who ran in 4th position. Well, he started in 5th. So, Bristo, well, hang on a second. Looks like there's been a slight change. Nico Jog has dropped down the order into 8th position there, so there may have been a penalty thrown his way. Looks to be the case. So that might have been for track limits. So Imre Beristo and Denis Sislivris round out the top 6 ahead of Florian Breitenbach from Germany. Nico Jog in 8th, Piotr Wisnicki and Max Fleischmann round out the top 10 ahead of Austria's Daniel Mahacek. Ville Leinen finishes on a solid 12th at the end of the race weekend. A difficult one for the Finn. Friedrich Jährich, Luca Munaretto and Manuel Tenschert round out the top 15 ahead of Zenderua. Brandon Smith finishes in 17th ahead of Ronnie Göttler. Sebastian de Grand. David Remy rounds out the top 20 ahead of Riccardo Alberti. Mike Zurcher, Markus Heimbüchner, Marcel Steinert, Nico Brugger, Daniel Oberheuter, Imke Arts, Louis Puel, with Antoine Gonçalves, the last of the classified finishers. Unfortunately, Jan Schwitzer called it a day after a difficult weekend. And the other Breitenbach, Oliver, was the last of the classified finishers, but were part of the two DNFs, with Yusso Pantela and Aleix Navarro Amigo not completing, well, not even starting the race just around 15 or so minutes ago.